say start over.
Sorry.
Now, this is not a typical grinding stone because they typically have a grainier rock.
Okay.
This is pretty tight, but it no doubt has been used for grinding or polishing of some sort, and clearly has been. It fits what we might call a mano, which is the Spanish word for hand.
Yeah, that's
is what
what
you
it is.
call grinding stone. Yeah, that's nice.
The people that believe in it, not many people used to believe that it was as old as it could be.
See, this is
So how old
This is essentially one of these. They have a variety of shapes.
Right.
And we find them typically in central Texas and north central Texas, going up into the Panhandle. Actually, they show it a smaller area, but we find them in a variety of locations. And it's pretty rare, no question about it. Almost all what you would call dark points, and most of them are probably late Archaic in age, which means 1000 BC to maybe 500 AD. This one is probably older than that. It could be 2,000 or 3,000 BC.
Wow,
Without any trouble.
that's old.
Nice pieces, though. Then this one actually was a bigger point at one time, and it broke, and then they sharpened it again, and that's why it's so short here, because it probably was at least twice that long. It was quite big at one time.
So they used it over and over then.
Yeah, until either they'd sharpened it all they could, or until they determined that it didn't have any power anymore. That is, they didn't think it was going to work. Okay, so we find perfect ones like this. Why would you throw something like that away? You know, do you throw your you might say it's sort of like, do you throw your plates away every day? Well, obviously you don't. Okay, well, for some reason, the perfect points that we find were, we think, thrown away on purpose. They're not lost by accident, okay? Now first, it doesn't take very long to make them. I mean, we're looking at maybe 5 or 10 minutes just to make something like that. So it's not a long period of time. But probably what was more valuable to them was the shaft that it was on, because the wooden shaft, they couldn't go to Home Depot and buy one.
Right.
And it took a long time to make that shaft. So if they, this is based on modern Indians and hunting and gathering people that are still alive today. We have found that they have a tradition in many groups that if you throw something, throw a spear or a dart that's got a point like this on it and it misses, they believe that it no longer had any power in it, okay? Or if for some reason some groups' fear or belief is that if these male-dominated or male-made tools get close to a woman who's having her period, that's going to contaminate it. Okay?
Whoa.
So they'll throw them away. Okay? Now that's the point. They don't throw the shaft away, okay?
Yeah.
Because, being practical, they also realize that it takes hours and days to make the shaft, whereas this takes no time at all. So, for some reason, these points were thrown away on purpose. And it's hard for me to fathom that, because I want to see this point as being the same as my pocket knife, and if I don't use a pocket knife for 3 or 4 years, it's not any good. I'm going to wear it down to where the blade's down and nothing, Well, this is obviously perfect, and it probably never was any bigger than that. So from their standpoint, it was throwawayable.
Wow.
So it's kind of a hard thing for us to imagine, and yet, I remember back in the 50s or early 60s, when bread was first coming out in plastic bags, and I remember saving plastic bags then because I wanted to store stuff in for camping and so on. I wanted to use them. Well, today we throw that stuff away, Well, I think that from their standpoint, the shaft was that rare plastic bag, and the arrow point becomes the plastic bag of today, which you can just throw away.
Wow.
It's hard to imagine that.
It is,
okay?
because it looks like
it just looks beautiful and it looks like they must have spent hours and hours, but in truth they really didn't.
Amazing.
So it's just one of those things. Anyway.
So that piece is rare then?
I'd say that piece is rare, yeah. A really nice piece too. And I wouldn't be at all surprised that could have come from the Austin area. But you do find those sorts of pieces here as well.
That's very interesting. Very.